Hello. So this week we read Undocumented, which is the story of Padilla Peralta, and it's basically just a story of how this young Dominican boy, part of a family who moved to the U.S. when he was about four, I believe. Um, he basically stayed in the country while his mother was on an expired visa, and his father returned home and basically just rose up through the ranks of the education system, and eventually got to Princeton, where he graduated summa cum laude. My bad. One thing that I wanted to touch on in this story that I found interesting was that it's crazy to me how someone could be in such a high standing in a different country. And when I say that, I'm referring to his parents, because both of his parents were educated and had jobs of good standing in the DR, but once they got to the U.S., they struggled, simply just because they were immigrants. And I found that to be particularly interesting just because I have a family of immigrants. My entire dad's side of the family moved here when they were children, not even 13, 14 years old yet, and they were living alone. My grandmother had sent them before she could come, so she was sending them money and such. So they were basically raising the younger siblings all by themselves. The reason why I think that that is interesting in comparison to the story is because it shows me that if Peralta's parents had that much trouble, finding success despite already being in successful situations, I'm curious as to how difficult it was for someone like my family who came here as kids with no experience, no education, to survive and keep going. So that was one thing that stuck out. Another thing that I want to touch on is something that I mentioned in one of the previous vlogs, but I just wanted to bring it back up again, which is basically just this concept of double consciousness. When Peralta's in collegiate, he talks a little bit about how he kind of has to balance the two lives of he has to balance his social life at school and then also like his life at home. And I just think that that's such a common balance that a lot of minorities have to make in today's age, just because socially being in a place where you tend to be more successful, like a prestigious private school or something where there aren't as many minorities, you find yourself, or I'm speaking from personal experience, but you tend to have to find yourself having a identity at school, but then also coming home and then having a different identity that allows you to thrive with the people around you at your home and in your neighborhood. So those are just two things that stuck out to me from the story as I was reading. But thank you for listening this week.